Okay, so one of the things that was on my list of videos to shoot for you folks is radios. And one of the questions that comes up all the time, what radio should I buy? My usual answer is it depends. Depends on what is around your area, depends on your budget, depends if you're buying for just you or a group, etc. So let's start out with the basics. So usually the most common radio that folks get into ham radio with is the Baofeng, the UV5R, or its variant, which I think is now the FH8 something or other. This one is a B-Tech model. It's made by Baofeng Tech, which is an American company. They use the same parts, but they've upgraded it a little. And the reason I like this radio, first of all, it's the same frame and parts as the Baofeng. So if you have Baofengs, it works. The other thing with this radio is that it has the 1.25 meter or 220 megahertz band, which in ham radio, it's very underutilized. And so if you have a group or folks and you've got 220 repeaters in your area, especially if they're not linked to other repeaters, so they're standalone, it's security through obscurity. They're not used a lot, and so you can get on there and you can talk without broadcasting it to everybody. And so that's why I like these. A little bit more expensive, but not much. Still within your budget. So the standard antenna that comes with them is going to be one of two types, and I got a pile of stuff here on the side. But you're going to get something like this one, which is the standard stock, what we call rubber duck, or the little longer one, and that's for the 2 meter and 70 centimeter repeaters, the most common ones. The other thing that's going to come in the package is this one, and the difference is it's white on the back here, and if you put your glasses on, you can see it says 220. So it looks almost exactly the same. And quite honestly, when you're using it, it really doesn't make a lot of difference on 220. But it's specifically for 220, so you'd have to keep swapping antennas. One of the things we always recommend that you want to do is upgrade the antenna. So this is about 16, 17 inches long. This is it's more output, better, more of your power goes out the antenna. It's the easiest way of saying it. The nice one with this is made by a company called Signal Stuff. They're the company that supports hamstudy.org and provides it for free. And they also provide the testing side of that, which is called Exam Tools, which a lot of volunteer teams use, including mine, to do computer-based testing and computer-based grading of exams. So they put a lot of work into that, and they provide that for free. So we'd like to support them. These are about $20. You can see they're ultra flex. You can get more commercial ones, but they are thicker and heavier, and that's not the best for these connectors here. They weigh more than the radio does. This one very, very light. Just make sure you get the right connector. And so you can see, I'm not sure how well you can see, and that just screws in there. And I keep these in a little bag and everything kind of coils up around it. The other thing they might want to do is upgrade the battery. So this is the standard battery that comes with it. This is an upgraded, bigger battery, lasts longer, and the charging cable it comes with is a Woolwart, but you can also buy the USB version, and that just plugs in right there. And actually you can see the battery's charged because it's showing power. And so that's another accessory. Now it does come with a desk charger, and that comes with a Woolwart. But if you go to BTech, btech.com, I'll post the link. You can buy this USB cable that plugs in the back, and that means you have more charging options. If you got a power cell, solar panel, something like that, that just plugs in there, and it's much easier than the Woolwart. If you have a UPS supply, things like that, battery backup. I've got a 12-volt car battery. I can plug this into that, and I can charge all kinds of things off of the USB ports. So charger, extra battery, better antenna. All right. The other thing that you can buy, if you want it to work longer, they make these. These are called ladder line antennas. It's made out of what's called ladder line. This one, I don't remember where I got it from, but I'll post a link. That might be it too there. And the nice thing is this has quite a bit of coax on it. So you can see the coax, the round stuff. I think it's like 10 feet. So you can take the end of this right here, put a bit of string on it, launch it up over a tree, put it up significantly higher. Obviously going to get you a better signal out, further, especially if you're in trees and things like that. For setting it up at your house, now, you're using a 5-watt radio. Trying to put it out, an antenna outside your house is going to get it out better than trying to use it inside, but you still lose a lot of the power of the radio once you go through the cable and everything else. But this kind of cable allows you to attach this radio to the standard connector that you'll see on cables coming from antennas. So this particular one, actually I have the barrel connection on it, and so the two types of connector are SMAF and SMAM, as in Michael. And so this allows it to work on that type of connector, which is for different radios. You need this one for the bow bang. And so this one cable will actually, as you'll see in a minute with another radio, serve 2 cables. So I can connect this like this, and I can connect it to an antenna outside my house if I want to. The other option, which I didn't put right in front of me, you can get these small little mag mounts for your car. Folds over, and this one already has the connector, a different connector on the end, so I'd have to use the barrel on it. But again, it allows me to put this handheld radio, put the antenna outside my car, run this in through the window with a door seal, and obviously that's going to work a lot better outside the car than trying to use the stock antenna on the radio, because the car's body being metal, and especially if you have tinted windows, because that's actually magnetic film, significantly reduces the signal if you're trying to use this dinky little antenna on it. So those are options that you can use to upgrade. They do come with an earpiece mic, which I don't have in front of me, but if you like these mics, and this is especially good for in your car, B-Tech makes this one. This one does also have the standard kind of earpiece thing on the side of it. I like this one. It's a little bit waterproof. It's quite rugged, and that just plugs into the side of your radio. So if you're going to use this in a car, this is actually very much easier to use, and that just plugs in there. I'll do a separate video on programming. There's lots of videos out there on programming these things. There is a cheat sheet on my webpage, and if you're a subscriber, there's actually a full manual that I wrote, basically taking their English translation from Chinese, Mandarin, and whatever it was into real English that is more understandable. Something else that you can do if you're into the more tactical thing and you want something that's easier, because easy to use tactical wise, especially if you're in a noisy environment. They make these headsets actually for airsoft people, and they work actually very well. So this is a throat mic. So this goes around your neck. This is up against your throat, and then you have an earpiece. Now this one's a molded one, and you can get these wherever there's a gun show. There's usually somebody there that will make you molded earpieces. So the advantage with the molded earpieces, one, if you're at the range, you've got hearing protection. You just have to put one in the other ear. The other nice thing is if I've done some work at demonstrations and protection, and it allows you to be able to hear without all that other noise coming in, so you can keep the volume on your radio low. And the other nice thing with this, and not using like a speaker mic, is that when you do transmit, you're not transmitting all that ambient noise around you. So if you're in a large event that's got a lot of noise, you key up your radio with the mic, it's going to pick up all that noise, makes it hard for people to hear. With this, it picks up the vibration from your throat, and it actually works very well. It comes with a nice big button, so you can put that on the front of your vest or whatever. It does have an attachment that you can actually put a thumb thing on, and you've got another one here where you can put different connectors on. This goes to the radio, and they do make different ones, but this one specifically works on this size of connector, which is the Baofeng and a couple other radios that are common. And I'll post the link for this because I have no idea where I got it from. I've had it a while. All right, so that's kind of your basic setup. Now, where do you go from there? Well, there's a couple of options, and the common ones I see, and I'll go back to, depends what's in your area. So if you have Fusion repeaters, or even if you don't, and Fusion is a Yaesu brand digital mode. But even if you don't, this is a good radio. Now, this is the pre-version to this was the FT60. They don't make it anymore, but you can find them out there. And the FT60 is a good, robust little radio. That thing has been around for years, and it's great. It's a brick radio. This is kind of its next version. This is the Yaesu FT70 with Fusion in it. I like this. It's pretty straightforward to use. Yeah, again, same thing with the antenna. Now this is where Fusion or Yaesu used a different connector to the BTEX and Baofengs, as you can see. And again, that's why I have this little adapter. I can take that off and use it on here. They do make one of these antennas. I don't have it directly in front of me. I thought I did. With the right connector, same thing. Nice little radio. I think now the BTEX and Baofengs have 128. This has 500 memory positions. So that's one of the big reasons in changes of prices is usually when you go up to more memory is the bigger difference. The other thing with the commercial, or I say commercial, the name brand radios, so Yaesu, ICOM, Kenwood, which are the three big ones known in ham radio, is they're a little smarter. So when you go to program a repeater in, it knows the standard offset, so it puts that in for you, whereas with these, you have to know it, manually program it yourself. So these are a little smarter. The other version of this, the newer version, this one is the FT2. I think the newest one's FT3. This one has a touchscreen. This one will do a few more features that the FT70 doesn't, especially when it comes to connecting to what Yaesu calls wires X, which is connections to the internet and therefore to other repeaters elsewhere. So this again, and this one has a touch screen, which I've got locked right now. And you can have the same with this one. You can have two channels on display at the same time, so you can listen to two things and all you got to do is flip-flop with it. You can do it with these as well, but as a feature, I suggest you don't do it to start with because it can be very confusing. You got lots of frequencies talking at the same time. Depending on how you've got your radio programmed, it might talk on the one you want it to, or it could talk on the last one it's heard. So you do have to be careful when you're setting your radio up as to how you want that to work. If you have a lot of DMR, that's digital mobile radio repeaters, and they're becoming very popular. You have talk groups on those, and you can connect to other repeaters. A lot of folks in a lot of areas have networks set up, so you key up on a specific, what they call talk group, and you could be keying up half your state, the entire state. Here in Colorado, we've got one network that I think there's almost 20, maybe more now, repeaters in it. You can key up all of them, or you can key up in groups. So northern part of the state, central part of the state, southern part of the state, or east or western part of the state. So they've got them programmed up that way and based on how you key it up. So one of the most common ones out there, well, this is the Anytone 868. The new version is the 878. And again, now DMR does take a little bit of programming to get used to. And so a lot of areas, they've got a club or group, and they will put sample code plugs out for you. So they'll have the basic stuff in it. You have to go in and set up your own ID. So you do need to have an ID number. I'll post the link where you go and you create an ID, which is I think it's 8-digit number that's affiliated with you and your radio, and it allows you to get on the network. And so it does take a little bit of programming knowledge to do, so it can be a learning curve, but it says some groups will put out a sample code plug. All you have to do is go make a couple of modifications, and at least you get started. So this one's programmed, for example, this is that system I was talking about. It's called Rocky Mountain, and so that's Central East group. These are different repeaters, so I have the different repeaters in there. And so this is all the Central East group, so that's all the repeaters around. And I can just move up and down, and I've got zones basically programmed into this, set up differently for different things. So this actually, the system I'm talking about, even has repeaters down in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And if I'm on this, what they call Rocky Mountain Wide group, I can actually be talking to all of them, including down in Albuquerque, or I can talk just on the south one. So there's all these different repeaters programmed in here, as well as conventional stuff. So this is the Anytone 868. The 878 is the newer version. And again, same kind of thing with accessories. Again, this uses the same connector as the Baofangs and BTECs. So again, all the connectors and antennas that I have, all interchangeable, including this ladder line one if I want to, or any other pieces that I've got with that. So when buying a radio, when you want to get that longer antenna, I suggest Signal Stuff. Support them because they do a lot for ham radio. And look at what you're getting for a charger. Can you get something other than the Woolwart, a little bit more efficient to charge it with? Plus it gives you more options if you're on the go somewhere. Most cars now have these kind of chargers, and you've got battery packs, solar panels, so a lot more options. May or may not want a speaker mic depending on what you're doing. Certainly something, if you want to put it outside your car to start with before you get a mobile rig with more power, something like this will work. And these are all options, and I'll find links for all these things and post them for you in the video. So, hope you found that useful. It answers the question, what radio should I buy? I know I didn't give you a straight answer, and if you've posted anywhere on any of the social media groups, you ask that question, you ask 5 people, you'll get 20 answers, 20 different answers. And it's a lot of personal preference. Some folks like Yaesu, some folks like ICOM, some people hate BTECs and Baofangs. You got to get what you can afford. It's nice to have a spare, but again, look what's using in your area, figure it out. If you've got questions, you can hit me up through the contacts page, and I'll do the best to kind of steer you in a good direction. Buy what you can afford within your budget to learn, and then decide what features you want. If nothing else, start with the Baofeng version of this, and learn what you don't like, what's going on in the area. Don't go out and spend, you can easily spend a couple $100 on a radio, and I suggest you don't do that to start with. Learn, figure out what you like, what other people are using. If you've got a group, it's much easier if you all buy the same radio, because then one person can be your radio guru and help with all the programming. Talking about programming, there is free software out there, especially for these radios, called Chirp. My experience with it has not been the best, and I've heard other people have the same thing. And as you can see right here, I've got, here's 1, 2, 3, 4 different handheld radios. Now DMR, we'll take that one out because that does need special software. But these 3 radios, they're all different. And so I use a company called RT Systems, and they develop software for programming radios other than DMR ones. And so every single radio that I have, and including some that I don't have, that I've programmed for other people, I have their software for and an appropriate cable. Now, some of the radios use the same cable, some use different. The software runs about $25 per different radio, and the cables are about $30, $40. But again, if you're programming bunches of radios, it makes life so simple. I can take the code plug or the programming I have for this radio, copy it into the software for this radio, and now they're programmed exactly the same. It's just like a spreadsheet. The difference here, obviously this has 128 memories, these have 500. But I can do that same thing with my mobile radios. So the different mobile radios I have the same programming in these radios and my mobile radios. So everything is the same, makes it so much easier for you down the road. And it's simply a copy and paste. You don't have to worry about the different parameters that these radios have. It puts everything in the right column and format for you. So with that, I hope you found this useful, and let other folks know about my site. It's been a lot of work getting up. I got a lot of information to still post for you, and I'm going to try and do more of these videos for you. And with that, have a good day. Remember, protect your family. That's what it's all about, and fortune favors the prepared.